This is for the dreamers, the doers, and the straight shooters. Welcome to the $1 Million Podcast, where we cut through the noise and get real about what it takes to succeed. Hosted by Ramneek Wayne. Here we redefine influence. No fluff, just candid $1 million success stories. Turn your ambition into action and your passion into profit. Influence with purpose.
Welcome to the $1 Million Podcast. Today with me is Thomas and Anabelle from Femme Organic, Turin-based organization. Let's hear from them about their journey of Femme Organic.
Yeah, amazing. Well, Femme Organic, however you want to say it. It's a family-owned business. So it's myself, Anabelle, and our three other sisters. So 5 of us in total. And what we offer in short is 100% organic period care products that are plastic-free. So tampons are wrapped in paper and the pads have a plastic-free backsheet derived from cornstarch.
Thank you, Thomas, to explaining me about your organization. And so how you guys came across the idea?
It all began in COVID because I feel like in Melbourne there was really strict lockdown rules. So you could only go to the supermarket for half an hour a day. What was it?
The
There was a
7 p.m.
radius.
curfew, the 5-kilometre radius.
So I was really overthinking a lot of my purchases in the supermarket because that's all I could do for the day. And when it came to buying period care, I felt like the options were really limited. There was only one brand at the time that was on offer on shelf. And so it kind of just sparked a conversation, and Thomas and I guess, spoke about how it would be great if there was a product that not only was organic but had that plastic-free call out and kind of ticked all the boxes.
When you gone out to the calls, found the stuff, and you'd be like, okay, there's nothing organic there. And how did journey go on from there? So like getting your registration, what was the challenges?
I know for me personally, it was a lot different than Annabelle's journey. For me, obviously having 4 sisters, I knew the basics of period care, but I wasn't an expert. So it would literally just be like me after a full day's of work, I'd come home, I'd have a textbook and I'd have my laptop and I'd just be searching like, what is a period? How does a tampon work? How does a pad work? And just kind of getting my idea around the head of, the basics. And then once we were comfortable, once I was comfortable with that, we took it the step further where we had a business plan. And I feel like that's really important for people to set up a business plan where you essentially just define your goals, who you are, what you want to do, do a full SWOT analysis. So like the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, the threats, and then, seeing what you want to achieve in the first 1 to 3 years, 5 years plus. So that's how it kind of started, like just really defining what we're trying to do and what we want to do. And then once we've kind of were comfortable and confident on that kind of business idea is when we then started to do the research overseas for actually trying to find the product.
So 2 years in a business now. And when we talk about the business plan, what do you think, how important it was and how important it is?
I look back on it now and I do laugh quite a bit. I did definitely dream big. I think by now we were supposed to be worth $50 million. But I think it's really important to, it was so important for us to be able to define our foundations, our core values, our goals, our beliefs. And it just helped us set us up and not kind of stray away from what we're trying to do.
When we're working on a threat model, there's big corporate giants again, who you guys competing with. And what you did different in their competition?
It's definitely an interesting market where there is just not a duopoly, but there are just some big investors from overseas that kind of buy out any up and coming brands and just owns them. So we just try to be transparent.
I think it's also all in the product details. Like, when we were starting the business and looking into what was on shelf, it's things like our product now, it biodegrades in 6 to 12 months. Products on shelf, the conventional ones biodegrade in 500 years. Yeah. And like the quality of the cotton. So the products on shelf have polyester and cotton that is sprayed. Ours is 100% organic cotton that's not sprayed with any nasty chemicals. So I guess that's the biggest difference as well.
Yeah, just that transparency, like what we do, what the products are made of. And there's a reason why, a lot of these products don't have an ingredient list on it, because you'd be so surprised what's actually in a conventional everyday tampon and pad.
You guys did really well on your branding. So where the branding process start, like how you guys came across the color?
With the coloring, we really wanted it to be kind of, I don't know how to explain.
Neutral, like not over the top. A lot of the products that were available on shelf were kind of like bright colors, like in your face. And we felt like it didn't really make sense for when someone's on their period to have, a bright pink box.
But we also wanted it to be really inclusive. So we wanted people to feel seen and heard when, they picked up one of our boxes. And I think, you know, like we say, it's for all who menstruate. So it's kind of a really open conversation, and having that our branding on shelf with, you know, the imagery and the colors, I think that really speaks volumes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because when I was starting my podcast, the $1 Million Podcast, there was a lot of people have the name the $1 Million. Come up on the top, take a lot to do it different when things are existed already.
Yeah.
It's a massive challenge. And I believe you guys did an amazing job to overcoming the challenge, because if I go to the store and look in, it look totally different.
Yeah.
Like this human aspect in it. It's more connected.
We definitely didn't do it the conventional way of going to a big marketing or graphic design company and telling them what we want. It was literally...
It was an in-house kind of situation. And Femme Organic, we always say that feminine energy is really free-flowing. And I think, so that's where the name was from. Yeah. The imagery was that we wanted to be inclusive. And the colors, some of the colors, like obviously the blue, this is like a bluey green. We did want the majority of the palette to represent some point in your cycle. But then when we got to the pads, I think we went a bit off track there. Yeah. Because we ran out of colors. But generally, yeah, that's kind of where we were going with our branding.
Yeah. But we literally had like a Snapchat group chat with all 5 of us. So 6 of us, all 4 girls, myself and mum. And it was just a lot of back and forth on like, what do we think about this?
You guys put a lot in the research part.
Yeah, a lot into research, a lot into just getting people's feedback on what they thought about the packaging. But then also, like Anabelle was saying, making sure we knew what we were trying to achieve with the packaging.
And when you was going out in the stores in the lockdown time, and you came with the idea there should be something organic and more sustainable to the nature. And who did you share your idea first, and how they react to it?
I think Thomas was at my place a lot during lockdown. Well, I was living out of home, but I was also at the family home a lot. So I think, I don't know, we just got into a discussion. Was it about rubbish and wastage?
Yeah, it
and
was
that's
just
kind of...
It's just everything's just always been an open conversation. So you just came home and just started blabbering about whatever she was blabbering about. And then period care came up on wastage, and then you kind of went into like what was available, and it kind of sparked an idea for all of us to be like, cool, why don't we do it the right way?
I totally agree with you. In the present era, everybody is focusing more on more sustainable, eco-friendly, and more social impact as well. And when we talk about sustainability, Femme Organic is 100% cotton, organic cotton-based product. What challenges you guys faced when you try to build this organization and 100% organic cotton?
It was super tricky because at the time, well, none of us had really had our own business where it was products to this degree. And so it was about finding the right manufacturer that obviously one had 100% organic cotton.
But it did start off with, I was in a rabbit hole in Google. I was like Googling organic cotton, like, and that's where I started. But you went on a more like, you were smarter and you looked at, was it the ACO?
Well, it's more the manufacturers. So it was just kind of like finding the manufacturers and finding manufacturers that were 100% organic cotton, and then 2 could have that plastic-free solution. So yeah, like you were saying, initially it was literally just Google, just like trying to find manufacturers. And unfortunately, in Australia, we haven't got the manufacturing capabilities or environment to produce organic cotton. So it was just like literally searching everywhere throughout the world. So like China, Europe, Thailand, Japan, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then once we found a manufacturer, ordering samples, and, you know, it was really just a lot of trial and error of getting the samples, making sure they're high quality. You know, you had so many of our girlfriends.
Yeah, that was the beauty of COVID, because everyone was in a similar position where they had time, so much time. So I'd be bulk messaging my girlfriends going, hey, can you just try out this tampon and pad for a week? Let me know how you go. So we had like, honestly, I think 100 people trialing products.
Yeah, like different products just...
But it was obviously hard at the beginning finding the right manufacturer, but then the trialing was also really tricky.
Yeah.
With just making sure everything was perfect.
Yeah. Once we kind of learned a bit more about the industry, there was definitely a more simple way to find manufacturers that were that certified. So a lot of these global manufacturers have the GOTS certification, Global Organic Textile Standards. And so what you can do, not to give away our secrets, but
I know, it's like, just tell them.
What you can do is you can go to the website, you can look at the manufacturing list, and that's what we kind of did. After a while, I went through the whole manufacturing list of who's certified, reach out to them, and then, yeah, just a little trial and error.
See, that was much smarter than me.
Just
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like I can clearly see you guys really good at with your research work.
Yeah.
And most of the Australian supply chain is owned by big giants. So like Coles, Woolies, they a lot of them, they are bigger distributor. And to getting your product in a first store, what was the experience like?
It was interesting. So I first initially launched with a distributor, which I had known through my old job when I was national account manager. So I knew this distributor. So that was initially our first client that we signed up. And so they would work through the independents and stuff. But our first major retailer was Priceline, which was crazy. So we were lucky enough to have a friend of a friend whose dad was the CEO at the time. And so we got the introduction, spoke to him through the brand. And then he introduced us to the relevant category manager at the time. Her name was Janet. And then, I still remember our first meeting with them because...
Oh my God, it was so scary. And I don't come from a corporate world, so I was so rattled. Like I said to Thomas, oh my God, I think I need to do a shot.
Yeah.
So I did a shot before the meeting because I was like, I'm so nervous. This is everything.
Yeah.
And like, I look back now and I'm like, wow, it's just people talking to people.
Yeah.
But I took it so seriously, like it was a life or death situation.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
But it was a great opportunity. And
Yeah.
that's good that I was scared.
And we were very fortunate to be able to get this exclusivity agreement with Priceline within the first year of launching the brand, where we had 6 products distributed to all Priceline stores across Australia. So that was our first major retailer.
You guys are doing such an amazing job. When we're talking about the challenges and we're talking about the big corporate giants, so ever you guys got deleted from any retailer?
We've had some very tricky experiences with the big retailers
Yeah.
because sometimes it's just not linear when you're going into, I think, a big corporation like that. And with like a new movement as well, being organic, I think you can't just, well, you can explain about the cluster.
Well, I mean, we were in Woolworths. So we launched in a Priceline, and then within 2 years, we launched in a Woolworths on what was a trial period. And not to say that, not to talk bad about anyone or anything, it just wasn't an ideal situation for us. Like, yes, Woolworths is an amazing retailer to work with, and it was our preferred retailer, but the stores that we were set up in just didn't really make sense for us. And I think at the end of the day, we just weren't ready for something like this. Say hypothetically, the trial went well, and then we rolled out to all 900 stores, like whether we could fulfill it, keep up with the demand, all the work that's required to keep a customer like this happy.
Yeah, we
was a
bit off
lot.
more than we could chew with that, I think.
It was a blessing in disguise for us for deletion. I actually found a video of me the other day, last year, talking about the deletion and like sitting there and being like, I don't know what's next for the business. I don't know where we go. And it's obviously like our first real major speed hump in the journey. And then look back on it now, it's like...
We thought the world was ending.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my God, this is huge. Like this is what we've been working towards. And you get in that mentality where you're like, everything's crumbling.
Yeah.
But then that's also where one door might close and 2 doors open. And that was the push that like it pushed us in another direction.
To innovate, essentially adapt or die. And that's where we've now come up with these bathroom boxes, which is like, the core of our business now.
You guys are really young entrepreneur and doing such an amazing job. And we met at Commonwealth Bank Small Business Award, where you guys was finalist as well. When you came across, there's a lot of entrepreneur. They have a great ideas as well, like yourself as well. And most of them just end up with the idea, never implement. So what worked out different for you guys?
You do have nothing to lose though in trying. I think you lose when you don't try.
Everyone's
it's
scared.
like the idea dies. So it's like, you can always start over. You could be, in your 50s and have an idea and go implement it. And if it doesn't work, go back to your job or do your thing. It's like I feel like there's a lot of fear around it.
Yeah, everyone's scared to
taking
fail.
a risk.
Yeah, everyone thinks that, making these mistakes and that failure is something to be ashamed about, but it's like, it's so important. We've made so many mistakes, but it's made us who we are today. So yeah, I think just taking the risk, like you've got nothing to lose at the end of the day.
And how you guys work around the work-life balance?
Oh
Because I know the Christmas time is coming, and you was telling me before, Thomas, it's hard for you to travel.
It's really tricky. I think you've got to be willing to make a lot of sacrifices socially, financially, particularly.
I think the social pressures as well. It's like this hustle culture of you get up and you do a cold plunge and then you go do Pilates and then you journal and then you do your 9 to 5 and then you go out and you do it all over again. And I think that's like so unachievable. So I guess my thing has been if I can do like 10% of something for that week, like if I go catch up with a friend or I do one Pilates class, it's like that's kind of balance to me. That's what I've found.
What's your next 5 years plans look like?
I think
Oh,
it's...
the guys
God, I
going
can't even think
globally
of next
because
week.
it's really good product, organic as well,
Yeah.
sustainable for the environment. So you guys looking to launch globally? What's the next step to look like?
I think one step at a time. It was really funny because my initial business plan before we start was like global, like year 4 will be the biggest in Australia and year 5 will be in the US. And then unfortunately it's not the case. So for us, it's just about becoming the number 1 brand in Australia and
refining and innovating, which is what we've been doing. So we had the smaller bathroom box that we started off with and then innovated based on feedback from customers. So I guess we're just perfecting the model right now of how our business works and the customer journey.
Yeah. I mean, ideally in the next 5 years, we would love to be the number 1 brand and that B2B side of things. So our movement is making period care products accessible whenever and wherever. And we'd love our bathroom boxes to be at the forefront of that, whether it's in a cafe or it's in your local gym or it's in your workplace. And then obviously being the number 1 go-to for people in that retail side of things, because at the end of the day, you love them or hate them. The retailers, you do need them if you want to get your products out there. And it's like,
It's really good for brand awareness.
Yeah.
But I would like us to expand into Europe or the US so that I can relocate, because I would love to be selling our bathroom boxes and sitting in Italy. That would be nice.
Would be nice.
That'd be nice, yeah. So is there any exit plan for you guys, or any big giant corporate reach out to you guys? We're going to buy you out.
We have had a few run-ins with big corporate companies trying to secretly buy our products, and I'll just leave it at that. But there's no real exit plan. I mean, we're on a mission to make period care products accessible, essentially just set ourselves up all across Australia and be the number 1 brand. So, if someone wants to try and buy us out, obviously it just has to make sure it aligns with what we're trying to do. And it doesn't stop what we're trying to do, which is being transparent and providing the high quality products. So we're just playing it by ear and just seeing what happens.
Most of the time when people start their entrepreneur journey and they came across the people, the nigger who say, you can't do that, it's not going to work out. You guys came across that kind of people, challenges? Like people
all
say,
the time. I think as a male, particularly when I would mention it to my friends, my guy friends, my girlfriends, they're like, well, what do you know about this? Like you don't use the products, or, you don't even know where to start. And so I definitely had, don't get me wrong, all my friends are amazing. They're so supportive. They've always got my back. But I think you just run into people at the start who's like, there's no way you can do this.
Or even during the journey, people like, you know what, maybe you should just go back to your 9 to 5. Maybe you should just give up. And I think that's really disheartening too, because you're like, no, that's not what I want to hear. I want to hear to keep going and to push through and to persevere. So not only was it at the beginning, but also like throughout the journey.
So you still get it.
So any of you feel ever the imposter syndrome?
All the time. Even being here, I definitely
I know, I always get imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm like, do I know what I'm doing? And like sometimes no, but I think that's the beauty of it as well. You're just learning as you go, and you're sometimes winging things that work out really well.
Yeah.
A lot of our marketing too is winging things.
Yeah.
And taking a step in the dark.
Yeah.
Did you guys came up across any scenario when you were like, no, I'm done. I'm going to get back. It's too much. It's taking too much of me.
All the time.
Yeah. I'm very lucky I've got Anabelle as my co-founder, because it's like we can lean on each other. Like I'll have bad days, she'll have bad days. And like I know we've always got each other. I think you've just got to go back and think about day one, why I started the business. What are we doing this for? Why have I even bothered, putting myself through this? And it's about making a positive change. So when we ever do get down, when I do get down, I'm like, why am I doing this? It's like, well, it's for the greater good.
Yeah, it's also a mindset thing. I feel like I think it's called the burnt toast theory.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you might have like 3 things happen in your day and one of them's quite terrible, but then there's 2 good things and you're like, oh my God, that's a win.
Yeah.
Right? That's our win for today. I'm going to focus on that. So then I can phase out, those negative thoughts and keep pushing forward. And, what do you say to me all the time? Because if you're ever down, the only way, what is it?
Yeah, it's like the good thing about hitting rock bottom is there's only one way up. And it's like, it's like something like that, or like if just reminding yourself if it was easy, everyone would do it.
And I think as well, another thing that pulls me out of that mentality is when, you jump online and you hear about other people's experiences and you feel normal and you're like, oh my God, okay, I'm not the only one that's been in this position and done this and, felt that way and felt, like just stuck.
Yeah. It's good to try and put yourself in an environment with like-minded people.
Community is definitely the big one, I think.
2 years in this journey, you time travel, you go back 2 years and you have to launch this brand. What we would have done differently? What do you advise you have to give to yourself?
I would essentially just say keep going. Like things feel really hard, but you've just got to keep pushing because it's going to be so rewarding and, you know, everything will fall into place and work out. And like, I guess having Thomas with me by my side as well has been helpful. So it's like you and Thomas are going to help each other move forward and, you know.
And if we have to look at you guys' journey, it's just $1 million question. What the 3 big learning in this entrepreneur journey for you guys?
Oh my God, there's like 20.
I think one for me is just like that consistency. Just like, you know, I think there's this unreal expectation, like Anabelle touched on before, that you have to be going 110% every day, 7 days a week. And it's not possible because you just burn yourself out and just shooting yourself in the foot. So I think for me, one of the biggest learnings is just that consistency side of things where it's like, you know, listening to my body, listening to how I feel. And it's like, as long as I'm doing something 1% better than the day before, then like that's all I can really ask for from myself.
I think as well, your network is your net worth. So it's not what you know, it's who you know. We've found that we've met so many incredible people along the way that have been in similar positions or in different industries. And, you know, we've learned so much from them. And I feel like they've been a part of helping us grow too, putting us in touch with the right people, giving us great advice or, you know, working together. I feel like if you can network and utilize your community, it's really resourceful.
Yeah. I'd say the last one is become a sponge. Like you might think you know everything, but if you're going to start your own business and just think you know everything, not listen to anyone else, you're not going to succeed. So what we always try and do is become a sponge where we enter a room and just try and absorb everything and ask people for advice and, you know, get feedback and learn as much as you can.
It is true though, because we met some people last week and Vanessa from Elite 11 was like to me, oh, you know, if you ever need advice, just text me. And I was like, careful what you wish for because I will text you and ask you a lot of questions.
I think that's going to be my last question. Any tips you want to give to a young entrepreneur looking up on you guys and want to start their own product or business?
I'd say just go for it. Like I said at the start, like you've got nothing to lose. And I think you keep touching on young. I mean, we feel old these days, but we are, and probably like now is the best time if you've ever wanted to take a risk and take a gamble. Now is the best time, and don't listen to what other people say. Like you can't do it. You know, at the end of the day, if it was hard. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would do it. Yeah, and it's
so. I think don't expect things to just happen in like, you know, a couple of weeks. It takes a lot of time and perseverance, and I think the tip would be to just keep going, keep pushing.
And don't compare yourself to other businesses. You hear about these journeys where people became millionaires overnight. You know, it's just not the case.
That's like my favorite quote. You told me this a couple of years ago when I was feeling flat about where we were at. And he was like, you know, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
And like, you're not always going to be in the same position as people, but you need to just focus on your own journey. And when there's hurdles, just keep going.
I think I learned a lot from you guys.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like I gonna do dream big, keep going, test the product. I think that's beautiful learning from you guys. Again, thanks for your time today, Anabelle.
Of course.
Awesome. Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.
And that wraps up this episode of the $1 Million Podcast. I hope you found today's insights as inspiring and actionable as I did. Remember, the journey to success is a marathon, not a sprint. And every step you take brings you closer to your goals. If you enjoyed today's show, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. Your support helps us bring more incredible guests and valuable content every episode. Got questions or feedback? We'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on social media. All the links are in our show notes. Until next time, keep pushing boundaries, stay inspired, and remember, success is a journey, and we're just getting started.